Hello everyone, today I'm going to be showing you how to identify the common eastern Physocephala, or Physocephala tibialis, from photos. So there are 3 things you need to know. Well, technically 6, but you only need to use 3 distinctive characteristics. First, you want to make sure that the discal cell is infuscated. You can see over here, I've highlighted this area. So this is the discal cell. Over here, you can also see it a little bit better maybe. So we want to make sure that this is darkened. In other examples, such as this one, it is not darkened. It is, we would call it highline. So we want to make sure this is darkened. Second thing, we want to make sure that there's this sort of T-shaped dark area on the fronds. Here we can see it is not present. There are other species that it looks a little different, but in this species that we're identifying, it always looks like this. And the last thing we want to see is one of these things. So if we have these 2 first things, we only need one of these last 3 things. We want to either know that the scutellum is black, as we can see right here. We want to know that the humeral markings are indistinct, as we can see right here. Or we want to know that the femora are black. And usually, if you can see the femora, then, well, how do I phrase this? If you can see the scutum, if you can see the scutum, you can probably see the scutellum, in which case you can probably see the humeral markings and femora. So in most photos, I'd say you will be able to use all 3 things. But in theory, you'll need one. Usually I go for discal cell and scutellum. That seems to be the most consistent, easiest to see. And legs is always the same color as scutellum, so that just goes along with it. So before we move on to examples, I'd like to mention this species is only in the east. So if you see individuals in the west, you can usually just rule this out. But if it matches all these things, then, who knows? It might be weird. So if you do see one of these, please just let me know. Yeah. All right, into some examples. So here's our first one. This is a very nice photo. So first we'll go to the discal cell, check if it's darkened, and that is right here. So you can pretty much see in tibialis, you'll always see this sort of bend in the infuscation on the wing. We're looking to make sure that that is present, unlike here where there is no such area. So this is infuscated. Next, we want to check the fronds. Yes, there is a T-shaped marking. Last but not least, let's check for the scutellum, because I can see right here, this is the scutellum, and it is black. So we're good. This is Physocephala tibialis. Next, first of all, check the discal cell right here. It is infuscated. It is a little less dark than the last one, but it's still infuscated. Next, frontal stripe. Yep, there is a frontal stripe. And last, we'll check the scutellum, and I think this is actually a red scutellum. It's not black. Now, you might be thinking, wait a minute, that looks really similar. Like, how am I supposed to tell? Well, that's what we had the other things for, right? These humeral markings and the legs, right? So the legs here are very orange. No, I wouldn't say them orange. I'll call them red. And what we know is that the legs have to be black. The femora have to be black. And also the humeral markings should be inconspicuous or indistinct, whereas here they are very distinct. So we can rule out tibialis. This next one. So this is, a less high quality photo, but it's still identifiable, of course. First, we'll check the discal cell. You can see up here, it has this little elbow shape. And so that we know that it is infuscated. And next, we'll check the scutellum, and that's right here. And it looks black to me. If we weren't sure, we could check the legs. And of course, the frontal stripe is present. If you see that the discal cell is infuscated, I haven't really looked into it that closely, but there may not be any physoconops that have an infuscated discal cell. So usually that works, at least in the east. But don't trust me 100% on that. All right, next example. Go over discal cell. So we can see this is pretty straight infuscation. There's no elbow, right? So this is actually a discal cell. You can see it's not infuscated. So we can rule tibialis out immediately. But if we weren't sure, if we couldn't see this, we look at the scutellum and it is red. And the humal markings are very distinct and white. And if we still weren't sure, the legs are not, the femora are not completely black. So there you go. Last example. This is probably, actually, no, it's actually a pretty good example because it's a very low quality photo, but it's a perfect angle, right? We can see the frontal stripe, we can see the infuscated discal cell, we can see the black scutellum and the black femora. We have everything we could possibly need. Alrighty, that's all I have for you today. I hope to see you all soon on the meeting on the 5th. We're learning about Physocephala tibialis, the common Eastern Physocephala. Thank you for watching.